Okay, the first map will be 2000 Atmospheres, and spawning over in the top right-hand side, representing Storm Gaming, it is JonSnow.
His opponents, starting in the bottom left-hand side, playing as the Red Protoss, it is TriGGeR. I kind of feel like we need Nathanias to introduce him, you know, seeing as how his nickname is TriGGeR after all.
It'll be a good one. It'll be a good one. Okay, so he is going for the low ground, gateway, and then the probe scout. This is very safe against all the early game shenanigans. You don't get the block off, but it does allow you to just make sure that you're not going to die against any sort of 12 pooling.
Talk to me. What did TriGGeR do against you on ladder?
So I've played him a few times. One game, and I remember each of them. One game, I opened up a 3cc, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win this game. It's gonna be fun." And then, like a billion zealots turned up, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's a lot of zealots!" And he ended up winning. But he did it well, Todd. He did it well. That's the thing, you know. A lot of zealots normally turn up, and I can be like, "This absolute baboon, just protossing me left, right, and center." But no, he reacted well and played well. The next game, you know, I got my revenge. I got my revenge, Todd. But yeah, I think he's definitely doing well, and the fact that he's practicing on the other servers as well, I think that's always pretty key when it comes to getting better. Like the other group, like with Disc playing on EU and things like that, I think Disc is also going to do very well in his group, and I believe that they're both Canadian tossers. And whenever you have somebody that's from your country that's also good with your race, I don't know about you, but I've always felt that drives me a little bit more as well.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that maybe they're talking and stuff, sharing some replays and advice.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
That probe. Whew. But no, I was just thinking, like, whenever I've had players from my country that are doing well, like I remember whenever Bling was doing well, I'd always be like, "Oh, I've got to do well now too." Like, you know, it was a little bit of drive for me. And yeah, I remember like one day it'd be like, "Oh yeah, Ben, you beat ST, that's so cool." And then I'd hear about like the next day already, it'd be like, "Oh, but Bling like 6-0'd his group and beat Pol." And I'm like, "God damn it, this guy." Like, just give me my moment, okay? Just at least a day.
It's good rivalries, you know. Everybody likes them. War of the Roses. Still remember.
Ugh, don't remind me.
Last
game on EU, and then he freaking 5-gates me. Oh, disgusting.
That was payback that was karma for the time you 3-racked me on Zenlaga Caverns, the game we talked about earlier. There you go.
Yeah, back then I was doing a weird build actually. It was like 4x with a 1 tech lab combat shield push.
Well, on Zenlaga Caverns, you needed 18 force fields to somehow block some army away, so...
Yeah, I don't know why you're hating. I abused the map so hard, Todd.
We got a Void Ray first on the way, which was scouted here by JonSnow.
Love it.
Curious to see what the follow-up's going to be.
Gets down the Nexus early enough as well. Like the probe wasn't denied here. This adept will probably be picked off, but not without microing into a good position and buying as much time as possible. And the Void Ray, I'm pretty sure the Void Ray will turn up in time to... Oh, in fact, where is the Void? Okay, it turned up a little bit late to this party, but I think he's going to be fine. I think this is... Yeah, JonSnow realized early enough that he won't be able to get this down, but he does drone up a lot in the meantime.
Yeah, he doesn't have flux veins yet, so he was only going at 250 miles an hour instead of 400.
What do you think about the speed of the Void Rays now, Todd? A bit different.
It's kind of crazy. They're so fast. Have you heard about this really old game of Rotty against Merds, where he just made a lot of Void Rays and flux veins? You remember Merds?
Yeah, Dignitas Merds.
Yeah, the Swedish Terran who had like 600 APM before it was cool.
Yeah, dude, I'd always lose to Merz, even though I was always meant to win.
Story of my life.
It was my kryptonite.
So this Void Ray, like, seems like he wants to just kind of fly around, look for overlords with it for now. In the meantime, he's getting second Stargate, the third Void Ray. So a Void Ray heavy composition from TriGGeR, and perhaps a big Stargate play here, like straight into multiple Stargates. Would he ever stay on Stargates, you think? Like just add more and then just go pure air?
Absolutely. Why do you think I bet on him, Todd?
Well, isn't he gonna lose to Infestors and Spalls then, Cap?
Mate, voids are really damn good these days. You know, I see people and they'll be like, they'll be making mass Hydra and stuff, and you'll be thinking, oh yeah, that beats void rays, right? No, super wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at this game right now, and I'm like, I'm feeling good for JonSnow because it feels like he knows exactly what he's gonna face. So he's already going into Hydras, and I think if you do a well-timed push, it's so hard to hold against this. But we do have a gateway transition with Twilight Council and Forge now for TriGGeR.
So I think the one weakness of TriGGeR's build is if you get like a Queen Roach Ravager push, because the bios can really buy you a lot of time with moving the voids about and stuff. This isn't a fight I recommend taking. But yeah, that's the one thing that I tend to find that I struggle against when I do this kind of void ray build. And this is my bread and butter, Todd. When I'm playing TOS, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do the lamest crap you can imagine. But yeah, what JonSnow's doing here, like, because it will most likely be a transition into carriers later on as well. I always feel good as the Protoss.
Yeah. If you get well, you should try and play against like Lambo or Serral someday. We'll see how good you feel about that build.
But you know, I'm one of those guys that I'll post my victories on Twitter. You know, when I beat a good player with my Protoss. And a few pro Protoss, or rather a few pro Zergs have fallen victim to me, Todd. It has to be said. Oh, these adepts went into the wrong neighborhood.
I think JonSnow might be content with his Walker count here. 67. His third base was cancelled. He's like, you want to kill my third base? He's just massing Hydralisks. But then he's going to go into timing, perhaps, unless he wants to drone back up behind this. But so far, it's only units.
It's not as if this army of the Protoss is going to be super bad, though. It looks like he's kind of gearing up ready for that idea. Like he's getting cannons, he's getting shield batteries, he's getting more gateways and stuff. I'm a little bit surprised that he went into double Stargate just to get out 4 voids.
Yeah, maybe he changed his mind along the way. Like when he started seeing Hydralisk, he was like, I can cut now, maybe.
I think it might be something like that. Maybe he was like, all right, to be safe, like if you're doing a big attack early on, I need the double Stargate.
Yeah.
But if not, then you know I can just transition out of it. And a second Stargate's not the biggest deal in the world.
Oh, they're getting a fleet beacon.
I like it. Storm as well.
Okay, if JonSnow doesn't attack soon and Storm completes, this is going to be pretty bad. I think his goal here should be to attack before Storm is finished. And that's going to be a gigantic, I want to say all-in, because he's really not droning behind this. Maybe that's not the right term, because he maybe still could drone as long as he does enough damage. Zealots on the left-hand side setting up a counter-attack.
Yeah, and they do have charge.
How many sides? JonSnow sides?
Yeah, JonSnow, he's getting Banelings morphed in here, but these Zealots can still deal quite a bit of damage, and this is buying time for that Storm, Todd. I like the way that TriGGeR's doing this. I like the way that both of them are setting up for this. Oof. I think TriGGeR, he's looking solid this game. He shouldn't be out here, though. This is very crazy by him.
He doesn't need to worry about. And he got them, but the High Templars are about to die. He needs 2 more Falcons. There is 1 carrier on the way. Why?
Mate, it's the single carrier transition. It's scary on NA.
Actually, that third base of JonSnow was overrun. 13 drones fell. He's just getting pure links behind this.
Yeah. I guess the big worry here is the Zealot count getting too crazy, too high. Those High Templars, he used all the feedbacks on the Queens, which is all well and good, but he needs Storm, and he needs it right now, because that is a lot of Zerg here.
Yeah, JonSnow is going in here. He's not making any drones behind this. He's just laying Hydralisks, more Banes to try and connect with the ground. Zerglings get a big surround, force the High Templar to storm with some friendly fire, actually landing big time on this. But that third base is completely being overrun right now for JonSnow, crushing through TriGGeR's forces.
Yeah, it looks like the experience of JonSnow really kicking in here, and I think TriGGeR tried to be a little bit too fancy, honestly. I think using all your energy on the feedbacks on the Queens absolutely was not worth it in comparison to saving your energy for Storm.
Oh, this poor Archons is trapped outside. Let me in.
That is a sad place to be. Oof. Oh, this was. I don't know about this one, Todd. I really feel that the High Templar energy was really mismanaged here.
Yeah, maybe he thought he didn't have the time. Sometimes you also misread it where you think you can land feedbacks and then pull back, but landing those feedbacks also meant he was going to take a bad engagement, and it really happened.
Yeah, and I mean, these storms were good. The single carrier, like, not really going to be able to get things done, I don't think, and JonSnow behind this, he's really droned up massively as well.
If TriGGeR realized that it was just mass, I think he would have never made the Fleet Beacon either. The Fleet Beacon and carry were totally useless here. He just needed more units. GG gets called and JonSnow goes up 1-0 here. The veteran still got it.
Still got it, Todd. Still got it. I was looking at the APM tab as well. There's something about JonSnow's bindings, but his APM is like 600 in the games, which is like, oh, I wonder what buttons you're pressing, but the APM reader can always be kind of funny in StarCraft 2, you know.
Yeah, for sure. That was nice from JonSnow. It kind of feels like he knew the style of TriGGeR and how to counter it, and he did that really well. And that's the thing if you're even remotely predictable. I mean, I'm only assuming here, right? But I think TriGGeR might have done this before in the past, either against JonSnow, against another Zerg, and JonSnow was aware that this might happen. Yeah, Void Rays didn't look too hot against Hydralisks, man. What were you talking about, man?
I mean, I cannot account for, you know, your 4 storms that you have available. You're like, I'm going to run forward and zap all your queens of energy. I mean, I will, I'll go down to my grave to say that that probably wasn't the best use of those High Templars, honestly.
Yeah, TriGGeR, I think the start was okay. It's just, you have to see this attack coming, which is very hard, right? Because you're going Void Ray, so it's not like you're parking one at the exit of the natural base and being like, oh, I can see everything you're making. You really would have to have either hallucination to scout with, like, very well, or an observer. You see that the opponent is only making units, and then you can get enough batteries on your 3rd base. Obviously, you shouldn't try to take a 4th base either. But it's always very hard. Like, for us, it's easy to see. We see everything. But when you're playing, I always thought that was one of my biggest weaknesses, is that I never really realized where my opponent was at in terms of production, in terms of supply. Like, whether that's why I love to look at the supply as observer. I could never do that as a player, because you can't see the opponent's supply quite literally.
Yeah, I'd struggle listing what is your greatest weakness, Todd. You had so many, you know.
Wow. All right, then. Let's go into the game. Right.
Oh, I was just... no, you introduced Todd. I'm happy with that one.
Starting in the top right-hand side of the map, playing as the red Protoss, it is TriGGeR.
And spawning over in the bottom left, it is JonSnow.
You're going to make me pull up his sports earnings, Ben?
I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. Oh. All right. Oxide's a very different map compared to 2000 Atmosphere. I'm not sure TriGGeR can get away with, you know, being as greedy as he was with all that, but I am interested, because I don't think the problem was with his opening at all, actually. Like, I think his opening was pretty damn solid, and his probe count was always very decent too in these games. Yeah. Like, it was normally the drone player catching up, as opposed to him catching up with the drone player, which is, yeah, definitely a different story.
It didn't feel like there was a lot of damage that he missed out on. He kind of did the most that he could with the Void Rays, you know, kill 1 or 2 Overlord, went to cancel on the hatchery on the left-hand side. And every time Queens were there, he was pulling back on time, as he needed to.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we kind of almost missed the fact that TriGGeR was trying to defend that 4th base on the far right, which, a little over-eager on the trigger, you could say. Yeah.
There was no Ravager. It was just Hydra Link Bane, so I don't know how many force fields he had, but maybe if instead of moving out, he would have thrown like 1 set of force fields to buy time until Storm. Yeah, you're right. Like, with 4 Storms, this army is like absolute glass cannon against him.
Super glass cannon, yeah.
Oh, the drone again.
Have you? have you ever found this, by the way? I don't know if there's any like young players in Warcraft 3, but whenever I play a lot of young players, they're trying to do as much as possible. And like the patient part isn't quite there yet. So like I can get a lot of players in TVT that are quite young where they're just trying to almost over micro and a bit too eager. And even though that looked fancy with the feedback, sometimes it can be, you know, one of those moments.
Do you think they're that excited about trying to micro and fight stuff just because of their young age?
I think sometimes the eagerness to do whatever you can outweigh the actual correct decision sometimes, yeah.
Could be inexperience as well, because, I mean, if we're talking Clem as an example, I don't think he overextends too much.
No. I think Clem for a long time was... this is nice micro by JonSnow. I mean, nice micro by both of them. Does get a drone eventually. That was cute, but yeah, definitely nice saving by those drones there by JonSnow.
That Overlord actually being sacrificed.
Yeah, and won't get to see what it wants to see, which is, well, we know it's a Void Ray and what have you. But I do think that Clem, before he became really good, was always that player you could count on. He'd always try his hardest, no matter what. Like, even if the game was kind of over, there'd still be the Marines microing their damned hardest and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Aren't most top pros like this, though?
I mean, I could definitely throw in the towel a little bit early.
Wave the white flag a little early?
Yeah, a little bit. I went, you know, full French on that one.
Easy. It comes naturally for us.
It's basically the same build by TriGGeR, by the way. Like, just go straight into Void Rays, and Twilight Council's very early too. Like, he's very quick to the transition out of the Stargates and whatever.
I think he probably realized like what happened, that he was like, you know, 66, 67 drones and then just mass units. But this time it's a Roach Warren being made by JonSnow, so very different play.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was more the like Roach Ravager Queen push kind of thing, because that is very hard to hold with the opening that TriGGeR's gone for. Oh, Dark Shrine this game. He's mixing it up while showing the same kind of opening, which I like that kind of play a lot.
It's kind of weird. You show Void Race, so the opponent's gonna have Spores, and then you go for DTs.
So I think the DTs are more about being used defensively.
It's like the Roddy build. You take a quick fourth, and then you have DTs.
A little, yeah. Like, I don't know how often a push happens. Like, I don't know if that is some response that TriGGeR's hoping to, you know, get against him, but I've had a lot of games where the DTs end up being able to hold pretty damn well before an Overseer shows up. It tends to be the last thing that you think of as a Zerg.
Notice that this game, it's going to be Overseers pretty early in the game. It's already starting to go into Roaches, which when somebody plays with Dark Templars like this, usually you have to go for Charge and a lot of Zealots. But that gets countered easily by Roaches, a lot of them. There's still some big attack potential. 5 Overlords on the way from JonSnow now, who's supply blocked currently.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking this game more for TriGGeR so far. And maybe the Dark Shrine was just to get out some Archons nice and early. Aspire for JonSnow. That isn't your normal, like, oh yeah, this was planned. It feels a bit like he feels he had to utilize his resources. Oh, is there a Spore Caller on the right?
Yes.
Oh, just one though, just one. And those units are out of position.
Oh my god, he's not reacting. There is no Queen nearby for Transfusion either. He morphs and Overseer immediately, but those DTs, what do they go for? The hatchery? No. Going for a Queen right now.
I think he can get out of there. Yeah, and TriGGeR's playing definitely well this game. I mean, this wasn't a lot, but they lost mining time, and they can just go back home and make some Archons. JonSnow's supply is definitely not the best. Like, 94 out of 146.
Yeah, TriGGeR can just start making a lot of Zealots and Archons from the DTs here that he's got. And his economy is great now. 68 workers to 62. Definitely feels like he's a decent amount ahead. JonSnow, though, I mean, he lost a lot of mining time because he had to pull drones from both the third base and Expo, but he's been mining a lot of gas. Definitely needs to fix the extractors on his Expo. He could go Mutas here and start harassing a lot. I wonder what's the plan exactly with that Spire, if he even wants to use it for now.
Yeah, I think the big worry, or the big potential for JonSnow is the Mutas, the surprise Mutas, but his ground army, Todd, like he's only got 2 Roaches out in the field. I know there's a few Ravagers and Roaches being made right now, but this army of TriGGeR, like he's almost expecting this to be a base down here, and he's like, oh, you haven't got this base? Well, am I in really good shape here? The creep spread isn't that far. Like, I think TriGGeR's probably feeling that this game is a lot better. Seeing that there's no drones here, he's going to be assuming that he's getting attacked, but
yeah,
we do see that JonSnow is preparing to get attacked himself. So it is a weird game.
Yeah, TriGGeR getting Templar Archives and Fleet Beacon is like, he's keeping all of his options open, you know, like he cannot pick one coin, so he's investing in all of them for some reason. 2 more Stargates now. So maybe the carrier transition, which against a full Roach Queen Baning army would seem a little presumptuous. Yeah, JonSnow's just going to go for another attack, much like last game.
This cancel on the 4th this time by TriGGeR, I think he felt that the attack was coming right there, right now. Whereas, like, we see that JonSnow, he's also kind of gearing up. Like, it's a hard game to read for TriGGeR, because I do think that JonSnow might be a little bit rusty, because he just hasn't been droning up as quickly, or... But that's also throwing TriGGeR off a little bit. He's kind of like, what? Why do you have so many Banes right now? Like, what's going on here?
And Storm should be done before this actually hits. This time I don't think he's going to be going for any feedbacks, as there won't even be Queens in the attack, assuming that JonSnow wants to go for the attack, because right now he's not even moving out yet. He's really delaying that. I think he wants to wait for maybe +2 attack on missile and also centrifugal hooks. But carrier production starts on the other side. Okay, against Lairtech Zerg, sure.
I mean, if he can survive, it's going to be decent, right? There is the Spire available, which allows the Corruptors to come out. Now Snow's like, you know what? Now I've hit 200 supply. Now I'm going to walk across the map. And the double Expo by TriGGeR. So if you lose one, you can just go and take the other one. Those Queens, they don't move quickly.
Honestly, if he knew what's coming, I think he shouldn't even take any of the 2.
Oh, those are some big storms, though. Big storms. And they already make such a difference.
TriGGeR actually put a Stalker back in his wall. That was gone for a second. I was like, ooh, he's going to be in big trouble. But if there wasn't the Stalker there, he would be taking so much damage right now. Instead, he's going to be able to chase those Lings away. And JonSnow is kind of stuck now on this deck. Like, what does he do? There's no way he can go tier 3. It feels like he just has to keep massing and find some way to attack. Maybe a multi-pronged attack could do it for him.
Going into Mutas, he's like, you know what? I'm going to surprise him. But I've never known Mutas to do too well against carrier comps and what have you, but he's obviously going to be diving for the economy and hoping for the best in that regard, but...
Yeah. The army of TriGGeR actually kind of bad against like Mutas in terms of like chasing and killing them. There's no Phoenix, there's no Blink Stalkers. I'm assuming that the Mutas are going to head straight for the main base. That's going to bring, ideally, the army out of position. But right now, he attacked maybe a bit too early with the rest of the army on the left-hand side. Carrier's coming in. He's probably, oh, goodness, what is going on?
I have no idea. I mean, there's a lot of Biles available. Now the Banelings can do damage, but they're not really connecting in time. TriGGeR's doing a good job of not eating every Bile here, but the Mutas, they're in the main base, Todd. Stalkers are warped in. I think TriGGeR's got more than enough to deal with this army, as long as the Voids don't man-fight those Queens, because we do know Queens are pretty damn good.
And the Mutas in the main still finding some damage, but Carrier will finally push them back. 16 probes fell during all of this. And TriGGeR is trying to build up his interceptor count, going down to 22. He was up to 24 not long ago. He already started additional upgrades as well. This guy is not stopping. +2 on the way. And he does have the... You're right about the Nexus. He lost the one on the left. He still has the one on the right.
I think that's going to pay off in dividends, because JonSnow was super all in with this.
Yeah, JonSnow lost a lot here. They're equal on supply. And he's still on Lairtech against a Protoss who's getting carriers now. So obviously way behind for the Zerg player. Trying to get the Nexus. He's going to be able to get it, maybe barely. Oh, he gives up.
Yeah, I think that was a fool's errand right there. And the carriers, like, this number here, 6 soon to be 7, that's a number that you need a very healthy number of Corruptors and maybe even Vipers as well to deal with. But they've also got that storm support on the ground. Like, JonSnow's definitely in a lot of trouble here.
Corruptor is actually, I think, one of the better options to try and deal with this air here. But how does he deal with the grounds? He feels like he would need a whole lot more Roaches, Linkbane than he does have now. The Protoss being ahead in supply here, super scary for JonSnow, and unless something special can happen, I kind of feel like we're headed for an equalizer.
I think so. Like, JonSnow just spent the last minute or so like trying to boot up his economy, which I think was the right move because you can't fight this with an inferior economy. But TriGGeR, like, hanging around here, he is giving JonSnow quite a bit of time. He might be just waiting for that +2 attack to kick in, and yeah, this carrier count, it's getting super scary, and it's not slowing down anytime soon.
That is a lot of carriers on the way. He's adding some Void Race, I like that. Always nice to try and counter the Corruptors with this. But yeah, the Storm potential is so massive with this army.
Yeah, like TriGGeR, the only thing he has to worry about is just getting a bit bamboozled here, but he does have all those High Templars, the Banelings running, and oh, not good enough connections. And JonSnow, he tried. That was a bit of a Hail Mary there. And that Corruptor count, it's big, but oh, the storms, Todd, they're huge on top of these Corruptors.
And it's about to have some more of those as well. Void Race putting in work. JonSnow forced to tap out. TriGGeR gets the equalizer here. We're headed for map number 3.
These two are quite evenly matched, and I was looking at their MMR as well. They're both around 5.9k on the NA server, which it's no surprise that these games are quite close between them.
All right, we're going to head to a break. When we come back, the conclusion of this series. We'll see you guys right after this. Welcome back, everyone. The conclusion of TriGGeR versus JonSnow is coming up, and it seems like both players, they've had one game go their way with a specific game plan, but now they both are going to have to make adjustment to try and get that very important win here in this group.
Yeah, I will say, though, that TriGGeR, like the adjustments that he made that game, were pretty damn decent. Like, I think JonSnow probably felt a bit fortunate the first game that, you know, the Queens got feedbacked instead of this whole army getting stormed. And TriGGeR, like that second game, even though a few things didn't go totally his way, he definitely seems like he's been in pretty good shape in this matchup. Anyhow, spawning over in the bottom right-hand side, playing for Team Alpha X, it is TriGGeR.
Spawning in the bottom left, playing as the Blue Zerg, representing Team Psystorm Gaming, it is JonSnow.
So, Todd,
yeah.
What time do you normally go to bed these days?
You know, between 4 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Really?
It really depends from day to day, yeah. I think that's the time you wake up, right? Coffee and StarCraft, your stream?
I wake up at, I wake up a lot, let's be real. I got a kid now, so it's, but maybe about 8 is when I kind of get up. So what time do you get up?
No comments.
Look. Oh. You're filthy. So right now we're like middle of your day kind of thing. So you're totally fresh.
No. It's not too bad, I would say, but yeah, I'm still definitely a bit tired. You know, it's okay. I got passion for days. You know, that any region getting me all hyped up.
I mean, it is pretty fun. Like, it doesn't always have to be the cleanest StarCraft. It's always fun StarCraft.
For sure, yeah. And like I said, like
Ooh.
there's always some sort of narrative to the game, so to speak. You know, like the Nina against some canning was like just crazy with explosions everywhere, disruptors, and like now in this game they both did a very specific build in the game that they won, and now it's time to figure out who exactly will try and make adjustments to be able to do better here.
I'm curious about this map too. We saw this once earlier today in this matchup at least, which was, in fact, we've seen it maybe a couple of times, but Hellraiser against Sort of, I think, was on this map. And then we saw Bly against... Who was the Protoss he played? It's been such a long day for me. Either way, we've seen it twice, and we've seen lots of different styles, but lots of the Protosses tend to like the air styles. It was Shutdown, of course. It was Shutdown doing the Blinkstalker stuff.
Let's see if JonSnow does something completely different, or do we still see him on lair tech at the most, because we have yet to see a hive from him. Does he not have confidence in that hive tech? Is it just going to be just full pure tier 2?
It's a bit tricky to play that hive tech, honestly. Like, you got multiple caster types. We saw people like a laser do it really damn well, but the laser's, you know, one of the absolute best in Europe and is full time. You've got to remember that JonSnow, he's not that young whippersnapper anymore that can just dedicate all his time to gaming. He's got a job and what have you.
Actually, for a long time, Laser was also a lair Zerg, I think. I can remember against Protoss, he would just always like Mass Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane, double upgrades. He wouldn't necessarily go to Hive. And then, after, like, obviously, when that stops working, you got a choice. Do you still try to make something work that shouldn't really work, or do you evolve? And he evolved and got a lot better.
Yeah, that's a ridiculously early third for TriGGeR.
That's going to be punished. Lings, there's 2 more on the way. That might be a cancel.
I think he's fine here. The Daddy Void Ray is going to do well. If this Stalker goes down, it's kind of annoying. Oh, the Void.
Oh my god, Stalker. He's like me when I play team games. Team nowhere to be seen. Void Ray was derping around doing nothing.
Oh, I thought you were... I don't know why I was... You know, when it gets this late, Todd, I was just thinking like, what, you're a Stalker in team games? What the hell? Like, what's...
Yeah, dying on my own. What am I doing?
You know, the last time I remember playing team games with you, Todd, in fact, it was PUBG. You were like, yeah, Ben, come play some PUBG with me. It'll be fine. I'll go easy on you. Yeah, you freaking yelled at me.
Yeah, exactly, because you were like that Void Ray derping around. That was being attacked by Lings like that Stalker, and you let me die, bro.
I mean, like, I remember, in fact, I remember 2 occasions very vividly, Todd, like while we're saying this.
Don't tell me the Overwatch.
No. This is about PUBG. I remember one time I came in to support you, and then like we both die, and you're like, in the future, don't run in like that. I like to play on my own a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And then the next game directly after, I leave you, and you die, and you're like, oh, why didn't you come save me? And I'm like, oh my God, Todd, I don't know what the frick you want from me.
I want you to play right and good. Stop doing everything that's wrong, Ben. I need to be able to count on you.
Yeah, you do. Oh, this queen.
All right, the March of the Queens.
This one's super fast, this game.
Yeah. There is no tech whatsoever. It's just pure roach. On the other side, we're going for Blink. We already got multiple gateways. He's going to start some shield batteries. He saw this coming. I think maybe evacuating the third base might be wise here. But I think he's going to try to defend there.
He's getting a lot of shield batteries at both bases, which I like, because he's 57 pros versus 37 drones. He's going to try and buy as much time with this as possible, which maybe it might be quite a bit. But yeah, these voids, he stayed on just 3 this game. Not a big number at all.
TriGGeR is 20 workers ahead. You can pull these probes and fight with them. You don't need them anyway. You're that many probes ahead to your opponent. He's going to try to defend on the third base. I think he should realize he cannot defend it and recall. He's going to try and evacuate, but all the probes get intercepted. So many of them are going to go down. Void Ray's kind of stuck on their own in the expansion. TriGGeR in a world of trouble.
He is in a world of trouble, but is he dead? I mean, his economy is all right, and he's buying time for Blink behind this. And this army, like this amount of Ling Queen, like, is it getting home? I don't think so. Oh my gosh, even more queens over on this left side.
Yeah, JonSnow needs to start droning up now, maybe. And if he morphs a bunch of Ravagers, he can just keep spamming that wall with corrosive vials and take out a lot of it.
Yeah, Blink is done for TriGGeR. I just need a lot more pylons though, because this supply block's going to be pretty mean on him.
Being Spores on the other side. Queens start to walk home. Okay, I don't think he should be trying to break into that expo. That's yeah, not cost effective whatsoever.
No, it's not. And I mean, TriGGeR was just kind of eating some of those bios, but he had enough shield batteries that it was kind of okay to do it. The Adept Harass is really good. It's getting some damage done. The probe count with the drone count is equal after all this, which is kind of interesting. Like JonSnow's transitioning behind this was pretty sweet, knowing that he couldn't. Oh, those queens, the slowest flank of all time, but I love it.
He might just go for Roach, Ravager, and Banelings, I guess. I mean, that's what we saw from him in previous game, and now it's kind of forced TriGGeR into a lot of Stalkers and Immortals. So just trying to overrun might be a good plan here.
It might be. This army from TriGGeR, it's small, but it packs a punch.
Small but strong.
And the gold base is cancelled by JonSnow, realizing like, oh, I might be a bit too greedy here. Might be hard to hold that on. Nice transfusions with the Queen.
I really think if TriGGeR had evacuated the third base, he would have been in such a good spot this game, because he would have saved everything that he had there, the probes and everything, and then you can just re-expand after. And the opponent is just kind of trapped with Queens on your side of the map. And I think the appropriate transition should be Disruptors, but he's just trying to be super aggressive with a lot of Blink Stalkers instead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind it, honestly. He's trading out pretty decently, and he's dodging a lot of these bios. Like, he's definitely microing very nicely here. Because, I mean, this army, it's not an easy one to engage with, but JonSnow is transfusing all his Ravagers and Queens as well. He's got so much energy.
Yeah, one of the Queens with the most energy actually falls here, but TriGGeR has been doing such a good job dodging these corrosive bites and being very effective with those Stalkers. He's completely out of sentries now, finally.
I feel that the time is getting here, though, where TriGGeR might have to just kind of run home and be okay with the fact that he's got a third base up behind this. He's got decent upgrades on the way. And yeah, he's doing exactly that.
That was a weird rally point. A lot of Overlords were flying on the other side of the map. Lings are going to get in. Ooh, that could do a lot of damage here. He recalls to try and prevent some of them. And JonSnow turns around.
Yeah, he does actually have quite a lot of shield batteries in the natural, so the damage... decently handled by TriGGeR, decently handled.
JonSnow, does he already want to attack here? He's still droning up more. think he's just trying to present a threat out on the map as much as possible, but he doesn't necessarily want to attack here. He wants to build up his economy a bit more, get some macro hatch in the main base even.
What do you think this Robo Bay and second Robo is for? Do you think it's for Colossus this game?
I think Disruptor against this kind of army usually is the go-to. Oh, he starts Colossus.
Bangarang, baby.
Wait, supply block actually. So he would like to start Colossus, but not gonna be able to. No, actually, no. He's blocked his building around.
No.
That's what this is.
Oh
actually,
my goodness.
I'm not sure.
It is. He needs to. So, oh, in fact, no. I think it. Wait, no. It can build.
Oof. Okay, I got worried. You know, like, you take such a long time to realize as well when this is happening, when you're fully blocked. That's a very suspicious SimCity, though. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely precarious, yeah. Double Colossus. I mean, big upgrades coming out for them as well. It's going to be hard to mine from this gold base if you're JonSnow, and he's getting a bit punished.
This is crazy, actually. Like, TriGGeR, I think he's identified that in game 1 and 2, JonSnow only stayed on layer tech, and he's like, okay, what would be pretty good on layer tech? Well, it seems like anything out of the Robo would be good. Whether it's Immortals, Disruptors, or Colossus. But Colossus, if you can get even just 3 of them, they're going to be sick against this kind of tier 2 army. Or layer tech army, rather. So he's going for that. And the main threat to Colossus will be, you know, like, if JonSnow could go for, like, either Corruptor or Vipers. But here, neither are very close to being reached. He goes for Arthur's Cavern.
He's got the high tech now, and these are ballsy ass blinks. And by the way, that blink on the right side to save his probes was really nice by a TriGGeR. I am scared for him here, though. This is a position that you can easily get surrounded.
I thought he might stay on the other side of the rich mineral fields. He's really sieging that base. Link's coming in from the other side. Fungal starts landing. Oh my god, that's so much damage here on the Stalkers. They cannot blink back either. Colossus almost going down instantly. The second one still standing.
TriGGeR does stand strong, but a lot of this army is battered and bruised, man. Those Stalkers from the top, that is the... I mean, they're not meant to be flanking, I don't think. I'm not sure what they're doing over there, but that is a lot of Lingbane crashing in here. Oh, nice Colossus Micro. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that JonSnow didn't try and pick that off there, but the Fungals are gone now. I think TriGGeR is just overwhelming him with sheer numbers here.
Yeah, he's well saturated on 3 bases. Can easily start taking a 4th. One Disruptor actually got stuck next to where he was trying to make the Colossus earlier. Kind of unfortunate. SimCity, man.
That's SimCity. I mean, eventually we were right, Todd. It did block something. Oh, you know what's sad about a Disruptor over there too? It can't even shoot. Like, I think it would just be on top of itself, right?
Yeah. That was bad, man.
All right, JonSnow, he's kind of getting... Yeah. Oh, look at this. That was a ballsy blink. Very ballsy. The disrupt shot's pretty nice on the left side. I think there's just too much here. TriGGeR. Bit of an upset victory here. For some, at least.
Yeah, the Stalkers having +2 attack here is huge. Ultra Disc on the way, but it's too late. TriGGeR with the 2